Dude, that is a Nintendo Switch.
With our future sponsor, Satisfy Grip.
They're going to say Nintendo.
This way, I want it on record so that when Satisfy Grips finally sponsors us, we can actually say we're using it before they sponsored us.
This podcast brought to you by Satisfy Grips.
In the future.
In a world,
dude, how
where
nice
your
is this
Switch.
thing, though?
That is
they
really
did a
nice.
really nice job. They did a super nice job.
They matched the color of the OLED really nicely.
They matched the color of the OLED really nice. My biggest complaint about the Tears of the Kingdom OLED edition was that it didn't have enough green. So this adds a nice layer of green. And look at the inside. The insides, they did a really nice job.
Oh, wow. That's very Apple of them. You know,
well,
like the stuff you don't see is important.
It matches the... yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the little swirly boys on the Joy-Cons.
Really, really nice. They did a really nice job. I was actually really impressed.
Did you know that Nintendo states that the official plural of Joy-Cons is Joy-Con, like fish? How the plural of fish can be fish.
That's like the guy who said GIFs or GIFs. Like, no, I don't give a shit that you made it. I don't like. It doesn't mean anything in this.
We can't get into that debate, dude.
Put something into the zeitgeist for long enough and it gets defined, you lose the right. You got to do that out of the gate.
That's fair. It's true. Yeah, you have to trademark the correct pronunciation. You got to put out a video of yourself saying it and saying you cannot use this word unless you say it right.
Fucking idiot.
Or you're going to jail. Literally going to
kill
jail.
Him, I think.
I think he's dead, actually.
Thank God. I'm just kidding.
I think he passed away in the last year or two. Wait, the creator of GIF image format. I actually think he did pass away. Steve Wilhite. Yeah, 2022, dude. Pour one out.
Cause of death, incorrect pronunciation. I bet that's what it says.
Someone got him finally. No, dude, my God, it was COVID.
Did he get grassy knolled?
No, apparently he had COVID. It sucks.
Holy
that really
shit.
sucks. Damn.
It does really suck.
Bummer.
What's up, dude? How's your week been? So give us an update on Final Fantasy.
Dude, I am loving...
Last week you said, I think your quote was,
yes,
it's like one of the most amazing games and one of the most boring games.
Yeah,
which is something you took on Reddit. Do you feel like that's changed as you've gotten deeper into the game?
Yes and no. Fundamentally, I still kind of feel the same way. It's definitely like I've enjoyed the game more and more as it's gone on.
Yeah,
I think some of my like. It's hard to explain, man. Like I don't know exactly what it is. There's like parts of it that are so amazing and so rich, and like just the depth to just the characters, the writing, the world, like the quality of all of that. And then there's some things that just feel so shallow still, and it's like it's so weird. It's like they knocked so many things out of the park that I think the things that aren't amazing really do kind of stick out.
Yeah, for that, I agree. I agree with that. I think the biggest thing for me is their like the world building that they do is not represented very well in the world that you traverse. And like it looks amazing. It looks amazing, but there's nothing really under the surface there. Mm-hmm. Like you walk through like this insanely beautiful, gorgeous desert like of Dalmek.
Yeah,
but it's mostly an empty desert.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
I do know.
Which I mean, maybe that's a bad example because most deserts are like empty deserts, but
that's a game.
But like, you know what I mean? Like the hills of like Rosaria. Like, like it's kind of like, it looks gorgeous, but it's mostly empty green hills.
Yeah.
And it just feels like they could have, coming off of something like Ragnarok and Jedi Survivor, where they also had that like open area format, but every area felt like it had so much intent. It had so much, every inch had so much purpose.
Yeah. I think I've done a lot of suspending my disbelief.
Yeah, I did too.
Which like, you know, we do in general when we're playing games, but like, especially for something like this, which like, I don't think this is even necessarily like, it's not like I'm trying to do something like out of the ordinary to enjoy it more, but like I've realized with certain games like this, it's like, you just got to fill in some pieces yourself, like mentally and like emotionally. So I kind of like suspend my disbelief. It's like, okay, I know that like this is not that big an area, like there's not that much going on in it,
and I
but
think
like
they
I can
provide,
pretend like there is.
yeah, exactly, and they provide so much for you
Mm-hmm.
in like other aspects of the game that I have no problem with forgiving what anything that's lacking in the game. It's really become one of my favorites. I think I really loved it by
Yeah,
the end.
there's still, it's so funny, like the same kind of thing keeps happening to me where like there will be like a burst, like a pre, nothing is too long, but like a stretch of time where it's like I'm just kind of like clearing up some side quests, like doing this and that, and like it starts to feel kind of
like
repetitive, like I'm not
you
really
want
like,
that main story to get rolling again.
yeah, and I'm like, oh man, like I don't know, it's like kind of getting to that point again, and then there'll be the story mission, and it's like so insanely good, and I'm like so invested and so like absolutely like head over heels for it, and it's so funny, man. It's like these incredibly high highs, and then like very whelming kinds of troughs in the experience.
Yeah.
But I think it does balance out very
What
positive
are the
overall.
whelming troughs for you?
It's hard to say. Like I think sameness to some of the experiences, I think, because like I actually do enjoy like the little story bits of the side quests and stuff. I find the world
I think
building
they're
really
so well
fun.
written.
I like the characters, I really enjoy that, but like at the end of the day, overall, like most of them gameplay wise boil down to, you know, talk to a person, walk over here, press X on this thing, walk back to the person and talk some more. And like, you know, that's kind of how most games, I mean, Tears of the Kingdom, you help the guy hold a sign up 80 times for 120 hours, you know, but it's like, yeah, you just kind of like, you know, suspend your disbelief and like to get that story. But I find that for me, the, you know, the crafting system is such an afterthought in the game, and like the gear system in a lot of ways, that like,
yeah, for sure,
the reward for doing the side quests is just the satisfaction of doing them and kind of like, you know,
actually
enjoying the world.
I don't know if you noticed this yet, but the reward for doing the side quest is you can get the best gear in the game.
Oh, perpetually. For like the renowned stuff? Or
no, you get the best crafting materials. You get crafting materials that you can only get from the side quest and from the hunts.
Yeah,
that you need to consistently have the best gear. Otherwise, like there is like optional gear you can buy that's like slightly worse, but who wants that gross shit?
I've been doing all of them, like, because even the worst. There has actually only been one side quest so far in the entire game, legitimately, that I walked away from being like, that was pointless. Because every single one, like,
which one was that? How, we can do a spoiler alert.
No, it's not really even. It's nothing to spoil. It was just like you go to a new town, and there's like one of the side quests, two open up. One is actually really interesting, where you help like this old scholar learn about the history of the town. Really cool.
Is
like, you learn
it. This is when this is after you get to Dalmek. Is this like the
it's one of
later on?
Yeah, later on in Dalmek. Yeah. So you help him learn about like the history of the town. It's really cool. It's like a nice little bit of history. Like, he's a charming little character. And then the other side quest is this random guy who's just like, hello, adventurer, you look strong. Help me go, you know, kill an Avis. So you go and kill an Avis. You bring back the skin, and he's like, thank you, adventurer. It's literally that. Like, there was no.
That's so strange. I don't even really remember that one.
Yeah,
I'm sure
like, that's the only one where like there wasn't really any character building. It was just, you know, just.
I don't know why they didn't like you. You're totally fine to take that one out. Like, there's so many. Like, there's so many, and I don't know why they didn't spread them out more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially there's two chunks in the end where they give you like 8, and then there's another chunk where I'm not even going to tell you, but you'll see it soon enough.
That's happened to me a few times where like. That's the funny thing. Like, I enjoy the experience so much once I've done it, but then there's these periods where like you finish
it's overwhelming.
You finish a main thing, and like, oh, you're in a new area, you're back at the hideaway, and it's like you're like, oh no, the green icons. You see like 4 or 5 pop up.
There's one part where you're gonna. It's
because like I love doing them.
Crazy.
Like,
it's crazy, but I will say that.
To.
The moment when that does happen, it sucks because they give you so many, but it's like gross. But the chunk of that side quest, you'll know when it happens too.
Yeah,
the chunk of those side quests are the best ones in the game. They're all like they are the best ones in the game. Almost every single one of them is like punches you through the fucking chest. Like, it's
wow, that's what I'm into.
Yeah. Oh my god, they're so good. But it's like like, oh, you want to do the next part of the game? Here's 5 hours of side quest first.
Yeah, literally, like the structure is so funny. Like I have like basically like one good session a day of the game, and
Yeah.
it's like it's literally either I do a main story quest, or for like a couple hours, or I spend a couple hours doing the side quest. It's kind of like the chapters of the game are like main story quest, side quests, main story quest, side quests.
I would love to. I think you'll be done. Are you trying to finish it this weekend? Are you going away
I'd
this
like
weekend?
to. I'm going to be busy tomorrow and Saturday. Maybe I'll be able to get back into it on Sunday, but I really want to finish it. Like
You're getting kind of close.
The
I think
PS5 UI says I'm 80% of the way through, which I don't.
I don't think
inaccurate.
those are ever right.
Yeah,
that actually might be kind of right.
In this case, maybe.
Like, yeah, if I know where you are, it might be kind of right, but there is still a lot. But like, I think you could be done by next week, and then I would love to do a review. Maybe we can. I just want to try and figure out a good format for us to do a review. It'd be interesting to
that'd be a lot of fun.
Do a review, like 20 minutes. 20
we can review Pikmin 4 as well, which you've been enjoying.
Oh my God, it's so fun! It's so fun. Pikmin. The last couple of weeks, it's been Pikmin, Dave the Diver, Diablo, and Final Fantasy. And
what a whimsical selection!
Yeah, it's been awesome. And after I finished Final Fantasy, I started my Final Fantasy mode playthrough, which I put down for like a week and a half, just because I traveled and stuff. And then I started playing it again last night, and I just had gotten through to the big Torgal moment, and then I was going into the second fight with a certain icon, and I like stayed up so late because I was like, I just have to, I got up to the fight, and then that fight is like 50 minutes long. It's like 7 boss fights in one.
It really is. The fights and the boss fights are insane in this game. Like, I know that's kind of the selling point. Like, that's what everybody talks about. But you really can't overstate how cool those fights are. And they're literally so like 30 minutes each. It's insane.
Yeah. I love the way you describe the game. It's like Dragon Ball Game of Thrones.
That is really how it feels. Dragon Ball Throne Z.
Dragon Ball Throne Z.
It's like
Dragon Ball Thrones.
It's wild. Like these moments of just like, kind of character driven intrigue. And then like, the next scene is like dragons fighting in space or something. It's like utterly insane.
It's awesome. It's so good. It's really become one of my favorites. We'll see. I have to finish my second playthrough.
Yeah,
and then I really want them to do DLC. I would love DLC.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. I'm very curious to see, because it's they've built a really cool world, and I would love to see, now that they've put out a complete game and a complete experience. Like, why waste the work you've done? You could probably do some side stories or DLC, or
there's one specific thing that they could do, but I don't want to say because it's a way for you to finish. But there's one specific thing, and they might have even mentioned it in the game for you by now. They've like pointed out a bunch, but Joshua specifically talks about it when he's like going over all the icons and stuff.
Interesting.
But yeah, we'll see. Beyond that, though, it's a big day for Zelda heads.
Yes, it is, dude. I cannot tell you how happy I am that more people get to play these games. These are I think actually two of the best Zelda games ever made, and two of the best games ever made, I think, personally.
You want to tee us off? Read the headlines?
Absolutely. So 2 classic Zelda blockbusters just dropped for Switch, for Nintendo Switch. Game Boy Color Classics, Oracle of Ages and Seasons come to Switch Online. Was this Kotaku? Is this Polygon?
This is Kotaku, yeah.
Kotaku. Ugh. What a treat. It's not the Link's Awakening remake style makeover some, read me, were hoping for. That's funny, author. But Nintendo just threw 2 all-time great Zelda games up on its Switch Online subscription service. The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages are available to play starting July 27th, and the timing couldn't be more perfect. Could it? Could it not?
Wait, yeah, why couldn't it be more perfect?
Yeah, what are you trying to say?
It could have been more perfect when the Switch launched. You could have put it on the eShop. That would have been pretty cool.
And I could have bought them instead of having to have a subscription service to play them.
Yeah,
but,
that would have been more perfect, I think.
We could call it the Virtual Console. There you go, Nintendo. You can have that one for free. Yeah, I'm thrilled. You've never played these, right?
Dude, no, I think I played Oracle of Seasons. I think. I could be wrong.
There's a
solid chance I never did.
Sure.
But
I
I
mean, it was a long
remember
time ago.
like have a vague memory of like those two boxes being next to each other, like on the highest
Yeah, yeah.
shelf in like EB games for like months, if not years. Like they're
I
just always together. The red box, the blue box, just right
yeah.
next to each other.
I evangelize these games constantly. I think they're really something special. They're really like a time and a place of where Nintendo was at the time. Like, I was a huge Game Boy kid, and I loved Link's Awakening. I loved, I played so much stuff on my Game Boy, and I'm a huge Zelda fan. And after playing Link's Awakening, like I was so thirsty for more Zelda content. And then they did this really interesting thing where they had Capcom basically licensed to make these two games, and it was like during that time period where Pokemon was huge for kind of the first time, like
Right.
so it's like you got your red and blue, you got your gold and your silver, and it's like you've got Zelda, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. Like two box games were like a big deal at the time.
And so they're different games, correct?
Yes, and the most interesting thing is that both of them are standalone. They're different stories, different worlds, different
but they're in like parallel
mechanics.
Universes or something.
In parallel universes, and I've never actually seen anything quite like this. There's like a password system between the games where, depending on the order that you played them in, you could put a password into the other game and like kind of continue your like meta storyline. So there's actually, if you play them in the right order, there's like a kind of a third story that like,
whoa, really?
Yeah, I'm a 20-year-old spoiler here, but like
playing them in the right order isn't like you play a chunk of Oracle of Seasons, then you go to Oracle of Ages, play a chunk, then go back to Oracle of Seasons, or just like you play one and then the other.
If I remember correctly, I mean it's been so long. I literally like did everything in these games when I was a kid. I was obsessed with them. I think it's like
giant
giant Goron.
The giant Goron. Oh my god.
That's the fun thing too, because like this came out like I think these were 2000, 2001, something like that. So like they kind of had some references to Majora's Mask, some references to Ocarina of Time. Like they're very fun games. A lot of good characters, great gameplay. But yeah, I think you can like play one all the way through, then like put the password into the other one, play that one all the way through, and then
so like you beat the game and it like gives you the password.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, like the passwords also had like certain items that you got and like rewards, so you'd get like unique passwords depending on like the things that you had done and collected. And then I think you would like go back to the first game and like put the password in, and then like that would, because I remember you fighting some like ultimate boss and like all this crazy stuff. Whoa. And like as a kid, like that was insane. And like having to actually write down these passwords, because I'm sure you could probably Google them now and be like, oh, this is a password you could put in. But at the time it was like just so creative. I think these are really very peak like top down kind of 2D Zelda games, and it's interesting that they let Capcom take a swing at it, which is really wild. And if I remember correctly, the guy who like directed or produced these games, Nintendo was so impressed that they actually headhunted him and hired him. And I think he worked on Tears of the Kingdom. I think he was the director for Tears of the Kingdom or something like that.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, so he's still there now.
I'm of the mind that like more like IP should be more flexible to work with amongst developers, because like imagine if like FromSoft did a Zelda game.
That would be wild. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of another like good example of this. For like a little while, it was cool to see like different directors in Marvel movies.
Sure.
Like what is like X directors, even like having Chloe Zhao on the Eternals, right? Like wasn't the best movie, but it was still cool to see Chloe Zhao make a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like with a unique kind of perspective and style.
Yeah. It's like in general, I feel like IP in general should be spread out more amongst artists, and it sucks that like business gets in the way of that.
Indeed,
which I get, I agree. But it's hearing Capcom do a Zelda game is so interesting.
Yeah,
and the thought of like I don't know, like not like Naughty Dog doing a Zelda, you know what I mean? Like
or like Naughty Dog making a Resident Evil game or something, like I guess that's kind of The Last of Us, but
but still like
like the
everybody's got their own spin, their own engine, their own flavor.
Yeah,
and we could have this sick, awesome world of different takes on different IPs, and blah blah blah. But
yeah, this was a time period.
Haters will shut it down.
Yeah, the haters and the folks running the companies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this was a time period where I think the industry was still pretty young. It was 2001, I believe. It says it right up there. 2001 companion pieces. Like things were wild back then. Like I even wonder what the budget for these was, because this was Game Boy Color games.
10,000.
Like it was a smaller $10,000, 10,000 yen. Yeah, it was smaller projects that you could kind of the industry was so different. You could be like, yeah, go pump out a Game Boy game over 6 months, and they could go and do it, and it would be potentially great. And smaller scale projects that you could experiment with. We got so many great franchises started back then too on the Game Boy, like WarioWare. We had the only Metroid entries that we had for like decades, basically.
On GBA.
Yeah, like Fusion and
Fusion was the last one for until last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, pretty
insane.
Crazy. Well, I guess the Prime games were Prime 2 and 3 on the Wii, but no, they don't count.
I love them, but they're not like Metroid entries. They're different things. They're cool as hell. I saw someone tweeting the other day about how like Star Fox needs a new innovative, like a new game, but it has to be innovative and fresh. I'm just like, yeah, it's called Star Fox Adventure 2. Like, what are you talking about?
I was about to say,
we know what it is.
Please, God, give us Star Fox Adventures 2. I've been waiting 20 years for this. I love that game.
It's funny because it's just like the closest Nintendo ever got to like a mid 2000s PS2 game.
Yeah, really.
That's like really all it was.
Yeah,
but it was awesome.
Set pieces, a little bit of collectathon, but like a little more mature,
linear levels.
Yeah, like such a. I should replay that actually. I've wondered how well that holds up for many years.
You can't play it on Dolphin on Steam, so
so what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great game. I was about to say something about it, but I can't remember. Oh well. Anyway, I'm excited. I'm so thrilled about this. Like,
I actually haven't upped. Oh well, it's Game Boy Color. I don't remember what's included in my subscription anymore. I don't really want to pay $60 a year for the extra games, if I'm being honest. But I do really want to play this.
I do.
How long is this game? Like 8 hours? Can't be that long, right?
That's a good question. Let's go to the old reliable howlongtobeat.com. Let me mute my microphone so you don't hear me clacking away.
How long to beat? Let's see. Oh, 15 and a half. God damn. That's pretty, that's pretty beefy.
Yeah, 15 and a half, 16 and a half for Oracle of Ages. I remember distinctly from playing both. Personally, I think Oracle of Ages is the better game. I think it has a better story. But they're both great. So I think the general recommendation for most people is like play Seasons first, then import that into Oracle of Ages, and then have that kind of be like your ending of the story, because it's a bit more impactful. But
in the first, Link can use the Rod of Seasons to change the time of year, while in the second, the Harp of Ages, Rod of Seasons and the Harp of Ages lets them travel through time. Both transform parts of the world in the process, with Ages being the more puzzle focused of the two games.
Yeah.
Most importantly, finishing one gives you a secret code to change up the gameplay and story in the second, and vice versa. Completing both then lets you take on the final secret boss. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that is so cool. Like, why does Pokemon not do that?
Yeah, right. Make the Pokemon games actually like have more personality besides just like a slight roster swap.
You know, there's like a Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Silver, and then they like did Pokemon Crystal.
Yeah, they did the old
like
third
Pokemon
entry.
Crystal should have been baked into those two games the way that like this third thing is baked into these two.
That would be great, but then they couldn't make billions of extra dollars.
Yeah, I better have my Pokemon Crystal cartridge still.
I still have mine. The battery's probably dead in it. Yeah, I have Crystal.
It's like the coolest Game Boy cartridge. It's like that.
It is
literally
like
glittery blue.
Yeah, glittery crystalline
translucent blue.
So cool, man. I love that stuff.
I'm sure I have it. I need to go find it.
Yeah, the more people get to play these, I think the better, because like it reminds people that there's great old stuff like this. People missed out on it. I would love a remake of these. I would love to see them do something fresh like this too.
You know what's better than that, honestly? And I think people deserve to play this more because a lot of people missed out on the first one, is Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl 2.
I didn't know where you were going with that, but I didn't like it.
It's this is a good day for Nickelodeon fans, I guess. SpongeBob heads.
Yeah, for the Nick stands out there.
The Nick stands out there. The beloved characters of SpongeBob SquarePants, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Avatar, Legend of Korra, and other enduring Nickelodeon shows will square off platform fighter style in the Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl 2 later this year.
Did you play the first one? I forget. Did you play fair amount of this?
A bunch of us downloaded it because it was free on something, maybe like PlayStation or something.
I remember very briefly
we played it for like 20 minutes. It was so bad we had to delete it. Like it was like borderline unplayable. It was so bad. It was really rigid. It felt super stiff. It was a game that you play and it makes you remember like how good Smash Brothers is, how impressive Smash Brothers is.
I am so curious about this because like what this means that the first one must have made them money, right? Like it must have done well. Like they wouldn't have greenlit a second one if it wasn't like, let's do it again, you know.
Maybe the only other thing I can think of is that like they had made the whole first game already. Right, so it's like they can't be. I'm sure they're using the same engine. I'm sure they're using a lot of like the same assets and stuff. Mm-hmm. The only thing I can imagine here is that the game didn't do that well, so they are basically like releasing a 2.0, using a lot of the same stuff to try and recoup based on maybe if it has like a low enough overhead, it's worth trying to do another release to recoup some losses from the first. I don't know.
It's so weird. Like
this is weird. This is confusing.
It is weird and confusing because like
I could also see just like enough kids just like wanting it.
Yeah, that's like I always wonder though. Like I'm not a child. I'm a 31-year-old man. Like
are kids watching SpongeBob?
I don't have a kid. It's like I wonder like, do kids know who these characters are? Like, is this for kids or is this for 31-year-old men? You know, like I'm not sure who it's for.
I have no clue, man. I have absolutely no clue.
Yeah, is this nostalgia bait for us, or is this like actually for, you know?
Between this and like multiverses like shutting down and coming back, this whole like Smash clone thing is so strange to me. Every time I play one, it just makes me realize how impressive Smash Brothers is. Multiverses was a lot better than this game. A lot better.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun briefly playing Multiverses with you when you were into it a while back.
Multiverses was shockingly fun. Where Multiverses failed was they did not launch with ranked, and it took them a very long time to get the ranked mode out. That was a big L. And two, they were like their communication was just god awful. Their communication was terrible. The balancing was bad, and the hitboxes were pretty rough. Hitboxes were pretty rough.
Didn't they?
Yeah, it was just not. And then they like, you know, a lot of people pay a lot of money for stuff in the game, extra characters, all this stuff, and then they like closed it down to say that they were like ending the beta.
Yeah,
like,
dude,
that's what I was gonna say. Like a year and a half, and people have spent money. Like you're not a beta. Like I don't care if like it says beta on the thing. Like
you are unreleasing the game now. Like
you're unreleasing the game. Yeah,
you're not ending the beta. Like come on.
So supposedly it's going to come back. I wouldn't be surprised if they just like say it's not.
Yeah, I wonder.
The game died. The game really did die really bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that was the other thing too. Like they kept saying things like when it first launched, it was either I guess it was the alpha, but I don't remember them saying it was the beta, but it was like that when it first launched, it was like the alpha or whatever, and it just like it didn't have like anything in it besides like you could just like do online matches, and then when they launched the game, it still didn't have anything, and then when they launched like season 1 with the battle pass, that's when ranked mode was supposed to come. It didn't drop with that. Like it was just a mess. It was a disaster. It was
so weird. Like I hate to be there's something about things like this that just inherently feel kind of cheap to me, and I hate to feel that way because like, you know, everybody making these games is trying their best, like, but something about seeing like just corporate, Smash Bros is a big corporate mashup too, but like it's grandfathered in, and it's like game characters. Something about seeing like Gandalf fighting like Shaggy from Scooby Doo. I was like, this feels so weird.
Yeah.
Same with Nickelodeon too. Like I guess for me like it's just getting over the hump of feeling like it's just corporate, like money.
Yeah, no,
idea,
it does feel like that. It feels like that because if the game doesn't feel good. The game has like no real soul, as to where Smash Bros, like that originally was that game has a very strong spirit of like celebrating its characters, even though it's
very
you know
much
what I mean, like
very much so. And there's like, I mean, with the classic games too, with I always think of Melee and how much of a banger that was in terms of just like extra content. You had all like the trophies you could collect, like the history
every
of all
character
the
has like
characters.
1 to 3 stages. Everyone's gotten updated and new, or just straight up new music. Like you can get all this extra art for each character, the little trophies. It has all those like mini games. Like it
to
was
me, like
it's a big Nintendo showcase of like, look at all this art we've created, and like we're putting it all in one game.
It's in a way, I think Smash Bros has always felt to me just as much like a museum as it does
exactly.
like an active game, which I think is wonderful when you're collecting characters and stories that way from the franchises. So like for me, if Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 had like, that kind of sense where like, oh, if I play SpongeBob enough, I can unlock like concept art from like the first season or something, like that'd be sick.
That'd be cool.
That'd be really cool. That would feel like a celebration.
And also, if the game didn't play like Smash 64.
Damn,
that's what it feels like.
That's a deep cut.
That's what it feels like. They took Smash Clone 2 literally.
Like we got to start at the first one and work our way.
yeah. So
All-Star Brawl 3 will be like Smash Brawl.
Yeah, like Smash Brawl. They're about to put their Melee build out.
Dude, if this is their Melee, then people will be playing All-Star Brawl 2 for the next
Ultimate.
30 years. Brawl Ultimate, every Nickelodeon character ever.
But
that'd be pretty impressive.
So then there was some other news about another fighting game, which is actually really interesting. So we can move away from Sponge Trash. So I actually was like vaguely aware of this project. So this article says everything we know about Project L, the Riot Games fighting game.
Oh yeah.
So I was like vaguely aware of this. It looks interesting. I just realized this is like a Brooklyn Bridge or like Manhattan Bridge ripoff. But I also didn't realize that there was like footage of the game. So I'll just play this while we're talking. But
yeah, they've been cooking. Riot's been cooking.
It looks super interesting. It basically looks like there's like League of Legends characters in there. I haven't seen any Valorant characters.
Yeah,
that's one thing I'm curious about.
Yeah, like is it going to be is it combining their different universes, or is it like kind of taking place in the League of Legends universe?
Are these all League of Legends people right now?
I think so. I'm not a League player, so it's hard for me. I mean, I recognize Jinx. Everybody knows her.
Yeah. Right.
That guy with the big sword is also I think that's a League character too.
It's a League character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a huge League guy either, so I don't really know. The game, and I will say, I'm normally pretty big on Riot's stuff. I don't think this looks great. It looks a little stiff in the way that like Multiverses looks stiff.
Yeah.
I know that's like the art style, but yeah, I don't know. I
applaud them trying new things though. Like all things considered, like they've got the money, they've got the person power at the company that it's like pump out some new projects. Sure, give it a shot. Valorant rocks. That was a shot in the dark for them. So because they've been cracking on this for a bit, and I know they were making like an MMO. Yeah, if that's
I think that's
still
very much
along.
so still happening.
Yeah.
I imagine this will be free to play. I
feel like it has to be. I feel like all their stuff is probably going to go in that direction, because then like,
whoa, look at this graphic change.
It's like, wow, realistic characters. Yeah, because they've got on something that's cool to me about Riot as well is that they are such a PC company at their core, which I think
Yeah.
is really cool. Like, computer, like PC gaming, like they, I mean, as far as I know, there's like League of Legends Wild Rift on mobile, and like they had an auto chess game, I think. But like other than that, I think all their stuff is only on PC, right? Like they haven't put out any console versions of stuff. Um, which is kind of cool to see in like today's day and
Yeah.
age, like a primarily PC company with Valorant, League of Legends, all that kind of thing. And accessibility is great if they want to make console ports of stuff, but it's cool to kind of be like, because it used to be back in the day, like there were big, Blizzard and stuff. You would be like, oh, like, or Valve, this is the the PC franchises, and
Right.
it's kind of neat that Riot, they've got their own launcher on PC and everything, and
Yeah.
but something like this, I feel like, could lend itself better to a console port, though, because fighting games are controllers go hand in hand.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I wonder if this could be their first console game, actually.
Would make sense
This
to
says
me.
right here, actually, that Project L is a 2D fighter with 2v2 combat, as each player takes control of a pair of League of Legends characters. It's a 3-button fighter, which means there'll be light, medium, and heavy attack combo. A special move inputs with simple direction commands. Rather than traditional fighting game inputs, for example, instead of doing a quarter circle motion for a fireball, you just do a forward plus attack input. If you've played the Smash Brothers series, it's similar to that series' Smash attacks. Both characters on a team must be KO'd to win. I think that's how Dragon Ball Z Fighters plays as well, which is probably why I
Yeah.
like that game more than most fighters.
Yeah. Oh, it says there, too, Project L is free to play.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
The game has duo play, allowing for 2 individual players to take control of one character each on a team. You can also make use of the fuse system to change how you interact with your assist characters, allow for addition assist text better, assist supers, etc. So this sounds like it has some cool gimmicks. It'll be interesting to see.
I like
it is
seeing...
wild that they're just like doing it all, right? It's just doing it all.
They really are. They're like, they've got their MOBA, of course, the old standard. They've got their shooter, their tac shooter, like fighting game, MMO. Like I said, they had an auto chess game. I don't know if I think that's still supported technically.
That was an auto chess game.
Oh, dude, you never got into auto chess?
No. What is that?
Oh man. Oh yeah, you didn't have a PC at the time. It was God, it was a fad at this point, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. It started off as like a mod in like Dota 2 or something like that. I can't remember the origins of it exactly. Basically, like League and like Dota characters, you I can't even remember what it was. It's kind of like a board game tactics kind of thing. My brother and my cousin were like obsessed with it for a little while. I'm even like struggling to describe it. You would like draw characters at the beginning and then like place them on the field, and they would like auto move toward the other side of the field and like fight each other. Kind of like, the freaking, what do they play in Star Wars on the Millennium Falcon? They got the holograms and like, he's let the Wookiee win, and like, they're like, the holograms are killing each other. That's kind of what it was like. Or like in Harry Potter where they're playing the chess board with the,
they
the
blew that out in Survivor too. It gets like really intense actually.
Oh, really? Actually put it in there. That's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe it's auto chess. That's funny. That was big for a while, cool. And like they made their own version like within League of Legends using the assets and stuff. Valve did too. People were like, "Oh, it's going to be like the biggest, the new thing," and then it kind of didn't pop off that much. But anyway,
there's no word on which platforms Project L will be coming to. It is safe to assume that Riot Games has entirely featuring on PC, that it'll have a presence there. Console versions yet to be confirmed. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it goes to console. That's really interesting.
I wonder. Like, I would love to see all their stuff come to console too, just if for nothing else, just to have controller support, because it's always nice to have. It'd be neat to see like console versions of like Valorant and stuff. How the hell would that even, with how accurate the firing is in that, like how would that even work? But curious.
It feels like that you need a mouse. I don't know. It feels like it doesn't work on the stick.
Seems like a recipe for even more toxicity.
Or like, I feel like if you lower the assist on that, like the sensitivity on like how snappy it is, it's like it becomes like COD. It's like a different game.
It really, it would fundamentally change it, because so much of that, like the skill ceiling of Valorant and CS:GO, really comes down to game knowledge, but aiming and reaction, above all else.
Freedom of like freedom of camera view, like just fucking
Yeah,
swiping.
and flicking it over and landing on someone's head and just taking them out.
I see that Sony headset you got on, dude. Your little Sony pony, dude.
Dude, I'm so sorry to the folks watching at home. I'm wearing my Sony Pulse 3D audio sponsored headset. No, I'm not.
Can you hear me in 3D?
Yeah, dude, it's like you're whispering in my ear. It's like you're behind me, you're in front of me.
Did you just get these, or you had them? You're just putting them on
today?
Oh,
I've had them this whole time. I've had them since I got my PS5.
Stepping up his game.
Yeah, dude.
But for the Sony ponies out there, we got some nice little bit of news, including Welsh. Sony has sold 40 million, billion, trillion.
Supply is now well stocked. PS5s. Finally.
Sony has announced it has sold over 40 million PlayStation 5 consoles despite the unprecedented challenges of COVID. What is that? What is COVID? And supply chain issues, unlike the press release shared when PS5 crossed 10 million units sold as of July 2021. Wow. Sony didn't call its flagship console out as the fastest-selling console in the history of Sony Interactive Entertainment, reflecting a slower pace of sales even as supply issues ebbed.
What a weird period of time, man. Like, the last 3 years have been such a strange blur, I think, for so many people due to, the pandemic and just the world being weird.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe this console's been out for 3 years and that, like...
It's really weird.
It feels like it just came out and, like, it's still, in that place of, like, being impossible to find. But I realize now, like, oh, yeah, it's been out for 3 years and it's probably, like, in stores and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think people discredit how I mean, look at the GPU, right? The GPU shortage was purely because of the chips, and because people were crypto mining. But like all of that directly impacts PS5 sales, car sales. Like,
yeah,
I know a lot of people who had to, who like leased cars and then had to buy their car because like the price of another one was so high that it was like it didn't make sense to.
I wanted to buy a car at that point. That was the only time in my life I've said, you know what, I think I'm gonna buy a car. And then I like looked into it and I was like, nope, just kidding. I keep getting away with not having one because like even used cars were insane. But
oh my god, yeah, the used car market was like ridiculous. But all of that was from COVID. So I mean, I think we'll look back on this generation as not a dud, but it'll seem weird. I think like
disrupted. At least,
it feels like all the big games of this generation are just now coming out.
Yeah,
it kind of feels like this generation. I don't want to say has gone to waste, but it feels delayed. It feels behind.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like, I mean, I got to imagine Final Fantasy 16 would have came out in like 2021 if there was no COVID. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like,
I wonder. I do wonder because, like, I mean, COVID
got
aside
delayed,
too,
dude. Things got like real delayed.
They did get super
Tears got a year delay.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're also just like games are just taking so long to make in general too that like combining with that, it's like, who knows at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope that we're at least at a point where like now there's enough of these dang consoles out there and like we're far enough in that like we're not gonna see, please no more cross-gen. Yeah, those consoles are so old. Please drop the PS4.
We need to stop the cross-gen. It's that's always been a part of the game for me, is like when a new console comes out, you hunt for that console and you get in on the generation, and then all the games are for that generation. Like,
yeah,
I understand it's difficult for people to constantly be buying new. It's not even constant though. It's like once every 10 years, like the newest stuff. But like, I don't know. This might be the least empathetic I'll get for this kind of stuff. But I just think cross generation is horrible. I think it slows everything down. I think it makes everything worse. Sorry.
Yeah.
Get good.
Get good. Get a PC. I mean, like, if you want true permanent backwards compatibility, build yourself a gaming PC. You have access to everything for pretty much forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting too. Like we see that with stuff now that's like truly being built for these current consoles. Speaking of PCs, it's interesting that like we're realizing that now that things aren't cross-gen, like there are actually jumps finally being made in certain rendering, not even just rendering or graphics, but just in like storage usage, you know, because like the PS5 and the Xbox Series S and X have SSDs. Mind blowing, you know, like finally they have SSDs and they have fast ones. They have fast NVMe storage, and like the games that are being built for them now are making use of that storage. So versions of it that are coming to PC, we're also seeing like, you know, compatibility issues and stuff like that too, because like,
dude, perfect example.
Yeah, the Ratchet and Clank, a rift apart, just came out, the PC port of this, and it's interesting. It's actually one of their, I think it's one of their better ones from what I was reading. There's some issues that I think they'll patch out, like here apparently the turning on ray tracing causes certain powerful AMD cards to just crash.
So the article we're looking at here, for anyone who's listening, AMD's most powerful graphics card crashes hard in Ratchet and Clank with ray tracing enabled. But like this goes into what Welsh is talking about. I think like the big headline that was coming out of this port is that when Ratchet and Clank came out, Sony's big thing was like this game would not be possible without the like mind-blowing innovative SSD that we put into the PS5.
Like the storage, man, like the SSD.
So people were like, when they announced the PC port, they were like, okay, so now does everyone need an SSD to play this game? Mm-hmm. And Sony said no. And everyone was like, well, what about all that stuff that you said? Like, yeah, you said SSD only. But then a lot of clips have been coming online of people playing the PC port, and I've seen some clips that's like it's rough. It's like it's
it's interesting. Like people have tested it.
It's like with the portals.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like using, you know, actual modern technology in these consoles from the ground up. You know, this is technology that's been hardware that's been available in PCs for a while, but now things are being built exclusively for this modern stuff with the consoles. So like the way it makes use of like the loading and stuff like that. And I've seen some videos, like Digital Foundry did a bunch of extensive testing.
I actually have that one up right here.
Yeah, they tested it with like a launch PS4's 8 hard drive, and it's just.
Oh yeah, I saw that one too. And
it just
I have that one up too, actually. But this is Digital Foundry. They have a max settings 4K DLSS PlayStation 5 and a PlayStation at minimum settings, and you can even see it here. It's like, you know, it's the delays in how and look at the minimum settings. It's just stuck in the portal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's
remarkable though. I mean, we do see the PlayStation 5, you know, loading a little bit faster. Like, you know, they really did build it so specifically for that hardware. And it's interesting. It seems to be kind of a mixed bag. Like some things in the PC port, you know, you can push the graphics a bit further, you can get it to look a little bit nicer, but certain things are just so optimized on the PS5 that, you know, the loading times are still a bit faster, things like that. But it's cool, man. Like, I'm so glad that we're finally seeing stuff like this. It's so funny. You know, I hate to sound elitist about it, but like I've had SSDs in my computer for, you know, like a decade plus at this point, and it's so funny.
Look at this guy over here.
I know, Mr. Moneybags. I had
Mr. SSD himself.
I had a 1 terabyte SSD in my PC, and it cost like $600 at the time.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, when SSDs first came out.
Yeah,
it was like a 1,500 for like an SSD. It was like,
yeah, they were
so
insane.
Weird.
Storage prices come down so far. But like when this current generation came out, to see people, you know, console gamers getting in on it and being like, wow, dude, like this is so fast. And it's like, yes, finally.
You want to see Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart running on a micro SD card on the Steam Deck?
Absolutely, yes.
Right, here we go.
Going through a portal. Oh no. Oh no.
She's just stuck in the portal.
I mean, all things considered, that could be a lot worse.
She does get out of the portal. That's pretty good. That's pretty huge. But it's fun. It's insane that clearly this blip is the loading screen. Right. Yeah. So in the game, when you are zipping through this and you come out the other side, to think that the SSD actually makes that much of a difference on the loading screen, that's wild. That's insane.
And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize, is that, again, like, you know, advancements in technology like this, it's not just about graphics, resolution, frame rate, but like fundamental
gameplay
things that you can do, artistically, like choices you can make, where like a character like that, you turn around and you're looking at a totally different like area, you know, like very fast loading.
Yeah. I never really thought about it like that until I was starting to look over this stuff, and now it makes me want to like learn more about how this game's built, technologically built, because it's so interesting to me that the portals and like the way that you pull yourself in is directly correlated to the speed of the disc or the quality of the hard drive. So it's so cool. Like, I think that's so cool. And I know it does impede a little bit on certain people's experiences for certain PC builds, but if you're in the PC market, I got to imagine you can afford the cheapest SSD.
Yeah, at this point, like,
at this point,
at this, again, I never say like anyone should have to do anything, but like you should really, if you don't have an SSD at this point,
if you are in the market of building a PC,
like
you more than likely can afford the SSD.
Yeah, do not get a spinning disk drive.
That is not the backbreaker of the build, of the PC build. And if you're buying a pre-build, send me a pre-build that doesn't have an SSD in it, because I would love to see what else it's got.
I'm sure there's some Walmart crap selling with like a HDD still in it.
Probably. Or some like kids first, like my first gaming PC type thing.
Leapfrog gaming PC.
Yeah. But
seeing this stuff take advantage of the hardware is really fantastic. And it's cool seeing that this, the popularity of things like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, various handheld PCs, like this game launched with Steam Deck verified support. And this is a clip obviously showing like running it on a micro SD, like there's some loading issues, but I watched other people testing and it seems like, like lowest settings, 720p, like the game is a pretty rock solid 30 to 40 FPS, which is like
the Digital Foundry
on a handheld console, man. Like,
the Digital Foundry clip I saw, I was like, wow, this looks really good. I was watching the beginning where he's fighting Dr. Nefarious and like the little thing, and I was like, this looks great. I was like, this is wild.
That's the funny thing is like, you would say like, oh, like very low settings, like, oh, it has to look like crap. But it's like when a game is like, these days, a very low setting is usually equivalent to like, like a medium or high, like,
yeah.
It's like, it's pretty crazy.
Right. Because Ultra now is basically like 4K textures, which like your monitor can't even support. So like,
unless we're talking about the Last of Us Part 1 PC port, in which case very low was the equivalent of playing with,
and if
Roblox.
If you just heard me say like your monitor can't support 4K textures and you're going, actually it can, and you're mad about the SSD thing, no, you're not. The difference between this and like some of the other ports we've seen is pretty hilarious, because like this has a couple of issues, but as far as I'm aware, is like a fully playable pretty
game.
Good. Yeah, they said it's a lot better than Last of Us, and
because like that was just insane. I can't believe they released that like as an actual paid.
I think
product.
They only released it because of the HBO show.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Success.
They wanted to get that.
And they had delayed it. They even delayed it, dude. That was after a delay.
Yeah,
that's just wild. They like already missed the mark. Like I think they delayed it till after the HBO show already. So good God, I can't even imagine what it would have been if they didn't delay it. All right, what else we got? So congrats to Sony.
Congrats to Sony. Congrats Nixies on a great port, Ratchet and Clank.
I don't want to hear anybody talking about Sony's an underdog now versus Microsoft now that they sold 40 million PS5s.
Yeah, they're all big boys now. They're all grown up.
They're all grown up. All right, here's another fun one that makes me nervous and sad.
Finally, a fun one. Oh, good.
Turtlerock's next game may be another Left 4 Dead spiritual successor. What is the famous saying? What's the famous saying? Like 2 strikes, get the fuck out. Like what is it?
Oh, it's George Bush said, "Fool me
once, shame on me. Fool me twice."
Yeah, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me a third, you can't get fooled again.
What's that even mean?
Yeah, I think he was like, fool me twice, you can't get fooled again.
Fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me 2 times.
This is so funny to me.
The team made up of veteran Left 4 Dead developers, which like is just carrying them at this point.
That is their thing.
That is their thing.
It's going to be on the box of this one.
Specializes in creating co-op shooters. Its first project, Evolve, wasn't the big success I hoped it would be, but the studio bounced back with an excellent Back for Blood. That is false journalism, my friend.
That is subjective.
That is objectively false.
Who wrote this?
This is VG247. I do not believe that. Back for Blood is actually one of the saddest experiences I've played through. It's very
I thought it was very
middling.
Yeah.
Very, very middling. I actually think I liked Evolve more than Back for Blood.
I certainly did.
At least Evolve was like this proto Dead by Daylight, trying to do something new.
They tried something new.
It didn't have the staying power that Left 4 Dead had, but it was cool. And I think the only reason why Evolve didn't really stick, at least for me, was just because it didn't have the appeal. It didn't have the same appeal as zombies. So I don't think it didn't hit as mainstream as Left 4 Dead did. It was a lot more sci-fi. I don't think it appealed to as many people. So I didn't have droves of friends that were playing Evolve. I don't even know if I ever really got to play with a full squad. But Evolve was cool. I think Evolve was objectively a cool game. The concept is really neat. I gotta imagine it impacted Dead by Daylight in some capacity.
I think so. Asymmetrical stuff kind of got bigger after that. I think they saw what worked and
also
what
the 4v1 format.
Yeah.
Where the one is because I don't think there was another game that really did that before Evolve, was there?
At least a big one. Yeah, not like a big budget project that I can think of.
So look, I give it up for Evolve, but Back for Blood was tough. That was a tough. Just a lot was not good with it. A lot was bad.
It's
and
so
at the end of the day, it
felt
like they just wanted to sell battle passes and seasonal content.
Yeah, they just keep how many people are actually still there who worked on Left 4 Dead? But it's just so funny that they'll keep running with that as long as they can. Putting it in the ads from the team that brought you Left 4 Dead.
From the team
that sells
that
copies.
has one guy who worked on a texture on Left 4 Dead.
I mean, if they keep learning stuff from each one of these projects and the next one really knocks it out of the park, then hey man, bring it on.
Yeah, for sure. I think as much as I'm shitting on Back for Blood, I do think they have the ability to make a hit. I do think they have the ability to make a hit. I would like them to maybe not try to do another back. I would like to see something closer to Evolve than I would Back for Blood. Maybe a cool in between would be neat. Maybe a 1v, maybe another 5. A 4-person co-op with one person while all the Left 4 Dead shit is happening
that'd be interesting.
Neat.
To combine the kind of AI stuff. That was actually my biggest personally my biggest complaint with Evolve.
Wait, was the monster always AI?
No, the monster was a player.
It was a player.
Yeah. So my big issue with it was that the actual clashes between monster and players were very exciting and very fun. They could be kind of one-sided, but usually very exciting. But until that happened, it was basically the monster just running around eating animals to get power, and the other team just running looking for it. There was nothing until the fight started.
It's funny, you almost need a battle royale storm or something. You need
a
mechanic, or an event
or
whoever
more
gets
things
this resource
you
first. Gets this bonus, and if the monster gets it, he gets a 2x growth bonus, or some kind of risk reward thing mechanic set up for people to encourage engagement more.
Yeah, I feel it needed more PvE with the PvP, because I think that's what works best in these things, Left 4 Dead's versus mode, that people still play a ton of, is very beloved because it really did that PvE VP thing very effectively. Where people are playing as the survivors, people are playing as special infected, and while that's going on, the director, their AI is still pumping out zombies constantly. So it's this interesting everybody's fighting everything. Which is fun.
And Left 4 Dead 2 still feels great. I think they did a big update on it 3 or 4 years ago as well. I don't know if it's graphical, but the game looks great. The game holds up super well.
I never get tired of it.
It has a ton of content. And I'm pretty sure this is actually something really, really neat. They basically Valve took like a bunch of fan made content, and when they did this update, they essentially added in like they called it like an expansion. It was an expansion that was full of like fan made content that they just made it official. They probably just like vetted it, polished it up, and made it like a real thing. But like that's sick. That's so cool. Like, and they still have the servers are going. Like, if you want to play Left 4 Dead, go play Left 4 Dead. Like, it's there.
Left 4 Dead 2
Left 4 Dead 2 has everything from Left 4 Dead.
It's usually like $2 on Steam. Go buy it if you don't.
Dude, any Steam sale, the Valve pack, you can get every Valve game for $15.
For peanuts.
I have 15 Half-Life games I'll never play. I don't even know what they mean. I don't even know what they are.
You should play Half-Life 2. It's a great game. That's one of my favorites.
I should just skip one.
Yeah, you can play Black Mesa. That's like a remake of it. It's pretty good.
Okay, Black Mesa.
Yeah. Half-Life 2 is a banger.
I actually was playing Portal RTX, which is great.
Yeah,
I want to finish that. And then I wanted to play Portal 2 because Portal 2 was like such a showstopper for me. Portal 2 was like one of the first games where I was like, wow. I was just like,
this is doing something to us.
By it. Yeah. What a beautiful game! Just like the whole game is so symmetrical and beautiful.
So funny too. Like one of the funniest games.
Funny, so funny with minimal dialogue. Amazing storytelling with minimal dialogue, and like reinvented physics in games. Like it was really incredible.
All that being said, all right, Turtlerock.
All right, Turtlerock. Let's see what you got.
Let's see it. Let's see what you got.
Please,
knock it out of the park.
God, please. We want you to do well. Please.
We're craving Left 4 Dead 3. Someone make it, please.
Someone make it. Make it good.
Make it good.
Back 4 Blood was not it.
No, it was not it, Chief.
All right, let's see here. New Red Dead Redemption logo appears on Rockstar website. Red Dead Redemption was rated in Korea last month. I like that that's like the sub-headline. A brand new logo for Red Dead Redemption has appeared on Rockstar's website amidst claims that the game could be set for a remaster. Posted to Twitter by Tez Funds 2, they also point out that in an update to Rockstar website made today, a game known as Red Dead Redemption Rockstar Presents version has been added to the internal games list.
Oh.
Yeah. Little hacker. However, last month, Rockstar's 13-year-old game was classified by South Korea's Game and Rating Administration Committee, which has a history of revealing upcoming titles prior to their official announcement. And here's the tweet from Tez Funds 2. Rockstar's site update live an hour ago added a new reference within the game's list: Red Dead Redemption Rockstar Presents version, codename RDR1 RSP, Red Dead Redemption 1 Remaster SP. Game Boy SP exclusive is what I'm guessing. But this is cool. I think we talked about this a little bit. I've never played Red Dead Redemption 1. I would love a remaster if it looks as good as Red Dead Redemption 2. I would really like it to be fully remade, even if it's identical, just fully remade in the Red Dead 2 engine.
Graphically, at least, to really like.
And my biggest thing is I don't really care too much about the graphical fidelity of a remake. I want the way it feels to feel updated, because maybe some people don't want that, but then I don't understand why you want a remake. Like, that's a remaster at that point. Like Last of Us Part 1, that is more of a remaster than a remake. It feels, the feel of it is exactly the same. It feels just as sluggy as the original one, which I think is like the least well-aged part of the game, is the actual like movement inside of the controls inside of the game, compared to 2 especially.
Yeah. I think this is really going to happen at this point. Like, come on, Rockstar, just tell us. We all know.
Yeah.
South Korea doesn't lie. Their ratings board always reveals these things.
No, dude, it was North Korean.
Yeah, they're active, very active gaming community.
Could you imagine like Kim Jong-un is just a huge Rockstar
gamer
guy? Huge Rockstar.
He loves Rockstar.
Just loves Rockstar.
He loves GTA. He's waiting for GTA 6. He funded that teenager who hacked and leaked all that GTA 6 stuff.
Oh my god, so funny.
Funded by the North Korean government. Yeah, that was insane. Yeah, I think this is definitely going to happen.
Like, oh yeah, absolutely.
It's free money for them. Well, it's not free. They obviously worked on it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I just hope it's worthy of like. I just hope it's worth being released because I don't think Last of Us Part 1 was really. Not that it wasn't worthy of being released. It's not worth $60. It's not worth $70. Sorry. And I'd hope that this game feels like it's worth the release. This game does benefit from being released a very long time ago compared to Last of Us Part 1, which was released originally, 2012?
Like we talked about before too, like, and we touched on it last time we talked about this, and I think in our last episode of the one before with like, preservation of games, like the original Red Dead Redemption, you can emulate it. It's like one of the, I think people have gotten 360 emulators like doing a decent job with it, but basically, literally the only way to physically play the original Red Dead Redemption is with a disc on a 360 or a PS3, and the PS3 version sucks. So you want to do it on a 360. That's the only way you can play the game, and it's a huge, beautiful, and very influential game, and is a great game. And it's one of those things where like, there's got to be some way to play it, man. Either re-release it, remake it, like do something, And I think they realize that because Rockstar doesn't have, a ton of IPs and a ton of games. So pump it out. Put it out, Rockstar. Wet our whistles. Get us excited for GTA 6.
We got to pump it out. Speaking of pumping stuff out, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, this is wacky.
Pumping stuff out. Yeah, Mortal Kombat's getting cool with it. I did see one character that I'm more... So there's two big reveals in this. So we're playing the trailer for the Combat Pack roster revealed. So the Combat Pack, it's the DLC.
What they call the DLC characters. It always feels weird that they do this in fighting games now. Like the game's not even out, and it's like, here's the trailer for the DLC characters.
But it is pretty hype. And here he is right here, the Omniman. I'm more hyped about Omniman than I am for Invincible. Oh my god, Peacemaker. Who is this on the left? Who is that?
That is Ermac. He is a Mortal Kombat character. So he's actually he's in the universe. Same as him, Quan Chi. And that is Takeda. He's also a MK character.
Oh, and there's the big guy.
There he is, Homelander. Hilarious. He's getting a lot of mileage. Anthony Starr is making a lot of licensing money for his likeness right now.
Like he is killing it. He's one of those characters. He's one of those actors that's like he's just in the right role. Like he's just perfect.
He's like born to play that part. I've never seen the show, but I know that everybody's a very big fan of his portrayal.
I think it's weaning off. The oomph of the show is weaning off a little bit on me as it goes on. I kind of hope they end it soon, but the first two seasons are like outstanding, like really, really, really good. And season 3 was great. It just didn't have the same hit for me as 2.
Sure.
1, 2. But Anthony Starr is amazing. He's so good.
This is.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, just the Mortal Kombat is so funny with this. Like, I can't remember exactly when they started doing this, but like they've gotten into this trend now of like when they do their combat packs, it's like half the characters are like, Mortal Kombat characters, either like a new original one or an old classic. And then the other half is like the most random pop culture things you could think of. Like the last game they had,
I love that.
Yeah. It's
like having Link in Soul Calibur 4, incredible.
Oh, that's an iconic reference.
Yeah. Was it Soul Calibur 4 or 5?
I think that was 4. I think 5 had Geralt in it.
It did. Yeah. Which is also cool. That's cool as hell.
Yeah,
and then the Spartan is in Dead or Alive. Like I love that shit. That's awesome.
I think Mortal Kombat it works well because like Mortal Kombat's such a wacky, gruesome kind of franchise that I feel like a lot of us grew up playing it and being like, oh man, like what if like, the Terminator was in this and he was fighting like the Predator, you know what I mean? Like,
weren't they both been in Mortal Kombat, exactly.
Yeah, so like they put the pop culture in, and they had the Joker, which is so weird and hilarious.
Remember his design was so bad they redid the whole thing. Yeah,
because he was like a little too emo. He put Jared Leto's portrayal to shame.
But and Omni-Man and Homelander both come from like very gruesome IPs, like very gross and gruesome IPs. So I think these two fit in very well. Omni-Man, I don't know why I'm like, I guess it's because
he's an animated character that we're seeing. He's an
animated character. That's
live action, quote unquote, version of.
Exactly. I think that's why I'm more interested in Omni-Man than I am Homelander, because Homelander's, you see him like in the show, like doing things, like doing superhero shit super villain shit in the show, and Invincible, which is a spoiler as well, but Omni-Man ends up being a villain, but like he's animated, so it's so cool to see like a 4K texture rendered
like
Omni-Man,
high res,
and he's gonna have all these like moves that are like gonna be like super cool, and like stuff like that like looks different than it does in the show, but maybe to look the same. Like, I don't know, I'm super excited to see it. It's super cool. Like,
and they made John Cena real too.
I was gonna say, seeing John Cena like Peacemaker, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I don't think anyone cares about him. Sorry, John. We love you. It's just cool. He got so overshadowed by these other two characters.
It's like cool. It's just like, all right. But no, Amazon, they're both Amazon properties, Homelander and Omni-Man, so it's like they're just licensing this shit out.
Oh, true. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. They're both
Amazon. In the Invincible show,
Jeff Bezos was like, put him in Mortal Kombat.
Guess Amazon probably bought the full rights to Invincible, if I had to guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
sure.
I wonder.
But yeah, they're both Amazon properties, so they're just like, hey, who wants a piece?
Cool Mortal Kombat characters too. Quan Chi's a classic. Everybody loves Quan Chi. He's been around forever. Ermac, I'm an Ermac fan.
Quan Chi's the one on the right.
He's on the far left, the kind of the weird warlock looking dude. Yeah, that's Takeda. He was an original character, I think, in Mortal Kombat 10. I want to say. He's cool. He's got like kind of like cyborg whips that he like slaps around. Cool. Pretty cool.
That's neat.
It's funny that they brought him back of all the characters too, because like, you know, they have like some pretty wacky ones, and it's like, well, here's Takeda.
I wonder if I don't know if I'm gonna play this or not. We'll see.
Yeah, I love Mortal Kombat. Like, I always want to, but it's how I feel about fighting games in general. It's like, it's so hard for I know that like I will get it, play it for like a couple of hours, and then be like,
never play it again.
Yeah, probably never play it again.
Like, do the campaign and like that's it.
Yeah. And Mortal Kombat usually has fun campaigns, so it might be worth it, but we'll see. I mean, if this gets like really banging reviews, people are like, this is like, you know, rock solid.
I don't know. The Street Fighter 6 was such like a new and unique thing that it's kind of killed my excitement a little bit for Mortal Kombat, if I'm being honest. Just as someone who doesn't play fighters that often, Street Fighter looks like a new thing, a new iteration of fighting games. Mortal Kombat 1 looks like every other
Mortal Kombat,
baby. But I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's close out with this one. So this one, I'm interested to hear you talk about this, because I feel like this is hitting home close to you. You're a D&D player, and Hasbro has big AI aspirations, which include a partnership with a novel digital board game platform. The collaboration will leverage Teburu's smart sensing technology and artificial intelligence. It says here, Hasbro, the publisher of Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, and dozens of classes. I didn't know they had D&D and Magic. Holy shit! Are they just like writing off those two alone? Like, what the hell?
I think I guess they own Wizards of the Coast, because Wizards of the Coast, I thought owned those two. Maybe it's all acquisitions all the way down.
They're partnering with Explored, makers of the Teburu digital board game platform. The Rhode Island-based company said Monday in a news release that the collaboration would help it explore the integration of smart sensing technology, AI, and dynamic multimedia. We envision a future where the technology seamlessly integrates into analog gaming experiences, said Adam Beal, Senior Vice President and General Manager of Hasbro Gaming, in the news release. Working with Explored enables us to deliver innovative gameplay to our players and fans, limitless digital expansions to physical gamers, seamless onboarding, and powerful AI-driven game mechanics. I was interested in everything until he started speaking, and it just sounds like the biggest corporate gobbledygook.
Like some cryptocurrency stuff.
Well, it's just like whenever people start saying like limitless digital expansions, it's like, so bad, bland, like soulless content.
There's certain buzzwords. Yeah, this sounds like the CEO of what was the company formerly known as Twitter, you know, talking about like where it's like X will be a platform of like, you know, endless exploration and banking and commerce. And it's like,
have you seen this company Explored? I have actually never looked them up before, and I just went to their website.
I'd never heard of it before.
This actually looks really cool.
I mean, just reading about this and thinking like,
so it's like an analog game that has like a digital interface to a screen.
Mm-hmm.
So when you
I think this is a really cool concept.
yeah, this is really this is neat.
For me, like I love board games. I love tabletop games,
Yeah.
card games, board games. Like there's something about, playing a game in a physical space like that with your
Yeah,
friends or with
yeah, yeah.
others. Like there's something so special about that. And seeing ways to like not lose what makes that great, but like find new ways to kind of like grow it and make it more interesting, I think is really cool. Like especially I'd never had this thought before, but like them saying, working with like Magic or D&D or something like that with like AI and kind of like dynamic, endless content. Like so much of Dungeons and Dragons and like, that kind of tabletop stuff, a lot of it is like improvisation and kind of like, playing homebrew things. And I'm imagining like, oh yeah, like if you had like an AI, this is wishful thinking, like an AI that could kind of like play NPCs in your D&D campaign or something, where it's like, oh, you talk to this person and like their AI thing can actually kind of like give you dialogue back, that your dungeon master doesn't have to come up with
Yeah, exactly.
or do it
Yeah, like an
themselves. Like
AI
that's
dungeon master, or yeah, some kind of like
yeah. So like you can have that human touch of like, playing and creating the campaign, but you can kind of pass off a little bit of that labor to an AI to be like, oh, it can like do a voice, it can like play a character, that kind of thing. That's scary but cool. I don't know. I guess anything with AI, I'm like so nervous about these days.
yeah,
It's
which
like
like
almost like
totally
a trigger
totally
word,
makes
but
sense. So they're making Explored is working with, I guess I don't know if Teberu is the technology that they own or if it's another company they're working with. They're making a game called Vampire the Masquerade Milan Uprising, which is what we
interesting. Yeah,
saw on the homepage of their
yeah,
website there. But this is what seems to be where it has like a very like neat looking tabletop board
yeah,
game,
yeah,
but it's like directly plugged into a
yeah. Do your tablet or your
into
phones. You can kind of.
is that a
That's
tab or is that a
cool, man.
screen that comes with the
That's an
I
iPhone. So
that's an iPhone, but I can't tell if it has like it comes with a device that it
I
like
wonder.
plugs
I
into
mean,
directly that acts as like the
yeah,
home
that would
device.
that would certainly bump up the price. I
Yeah,
figured they'd
for sure.
probably want it to you can do it on a computer or a tablet or something like that.
See this thing, this
Yeah, I think this is supposed to be an
screen.
iPad.
Okay.
That's my guess. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a really cool concept,
this
man.
looks
Like
cool. I kind of want to buy this game. This looks sick.
I love tabletop stuff, man. Like finding new ways to kind of like engage with it that way, like keep track of things on your devices. Like it's cool. That's a cool concept.
So now it's like, you have to kind of take this and you have to envision yourself like playing D&D, and like you said, you're thinking of ways that you'd want it to impact your game, improve upon your experience. Are there
Yeah.
things that scare you about this when you think about D&D, when you think about tabletop games, that you're like, oh
Hmm.
man, like please stay away from XYZ XYZ part of the experience? Like, like
Yeah.
AI does scare me in general. I think like just from a corporate greed kind of standpoint, but I think something like this where it's like this physical game pad that has
Yeah.
like sensors in it and interacts with
Hmm.
a program is like, that's so cool.
Yeah. It's a good question. I'm not like like I can talk for hours and hours about video games and how my thoughts and concerns. Like tabletop, I'm less invested and like educated on in general. So it's like I'm sure there's some people who would have like really specific critiques and ideas about this. I guess for me, like if I had to pick a concern, it's just like the way I feel about AI in general, which is like potentially taking away the work of creative people. If this is like something that they like just start shipping with certain things to just not have to pay like writers to create a story for the game or something like that. Or I guess
Yeah.
if you're in the context of something like D&D, I was saying like, oh, like it could play a character or something like that. There's that concern about AI voices and actors and all that kind of thing. And there's a lot of people who do like really incredible work who actually have like basically full-time jobs as professional like dungeon masters, people who like run campaigns and create these stories, who would probably have a pretty strong opinion about an AI doing their job for them. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's this stuff is getting, more and more popular these days. I think tabletop has had a big renaissance, so it's not surprising that we're seeing more people kind of trying to
play that
grow
Daydillo game. That's what it's called, right? Daydillo on the PSVR or on the VR in general.
Oh, Demio.
Oh, Demio, yeah.
Daydillo.
I feel like that's the name of something. I can't remember what it is though.
I was like, is that a musician?
But we have to. I want to even that. Like, I really want to play that. But
Demio's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It seems like the concept is going. We will see it in the mainstream, or at least from a mainstream producer of tabletop soon. Because like it's reading this again with context, it seems like they are partnering with Explored, who makes Tebaru is that digital board. That is the technology on the board. Yeah. So it seems like they have intent to
the big players here, so
to produce purchasable Hasbro Tebaru powered games. So I wonder, like, are we going to see like Monopoly with a digital bank, or is it going to be like entirely new like IPs? Like
I wonder.
Yeah. The only tabletop game I like is Rat Trap.
Dude, wow, that's a core memory.
Rat Trap's awesome.
I only played Don't Wake Daddy. You ever play that one?
All right, so anyway, we'll see you guys next week.
That's a real game. I swear to God, there's a dad in like the middle of the board, and he's asleep, and he's got the little hat
and then
on,
he comes
the
shooting
classic.
Out of the
and you like you when you
and he's got like
spin
the
wheel,
old time sleepy hat on.
Yeah, the little like like me, like the little old sleepy kind of guy. And like
I did play that game.
When you like spin a thing and you get a bad card, it's like you have to click a button a certain number of times, and it's like Russian roulette with a freaking terrifying man waking up out of the bed. And if you're the one who like clicks it at the wrong time, he shoots awake and freaks you out.
Here you go, dude. You too can own the Don't Wake Daddy
digital deluxe edition,
for
digital dad lux edition,
$15.99 on eBay.
Oh my God!
1992 Don't Wake Daddy board game replacement Daddy part only. No
replacement
Daddy.
No nightcap.
No nightcap. Yeah, where's
this is always weird too, because like he kind of looks like my dad looked at that time too.
Oh, the nightcap is like fully removable.
Oh yeah, it would fly off his head when he woke up. It was very effective.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's a classic, so man. I love that game. Where's my AI powered Don't Wake Daddy?
AI powered Daddy, let's go.
Only at Toys R Us. Wow.
Dude,
they really
that's what I'm glad they shut down. That was a big monopoly, dude.
Hey, was that pun intended?
Nope. Big Giraffe got shut down. R.I.P.
Damn. Joffrey the Draft, whatever the hell his name was. I think it's spelled with a G, one of those.
Yeah, it was. He was English.
Yeah. That's messed up.
All right. Yeah. Anything else besides not waking up Daddy?
No, that's what I'm going to be thinking about for the next couple of hours.
The next couple of days.
Yeah,
no, months.
Days. Yeah, once he's in my head, I can't get him out.
All right, everybody, go look up Don't Wake Daddy. It's game of the year. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, Welsh will finish FF16. I would love to do a deep dive. We might even do like a little mini episode for that because that is
there's a lot to talk about.
That game is special, at least to me. I think that one's going to be sticking with me on my list for a long time.
I can't wait to see where it goes and to just like really have some time to think about it, digest it all. 100%.
Remember when Kotaku said Jill's only pretty? Insane.
I don't know who played that game and got some weird ideas about it, but
I hate Kotaku because of that, but what are you going to do? All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back next week. You can find us on Twitch, Twitter, and I always do that. YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter at SRankPod. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/NoBananaSuits. You can find Welsh at SeanWelshBrown on Twitter. If you have anything you guys want us to talk about, let us know. We'd be more than happy to integrate some stuff. But
leave a comment.
Yeah,
leave a subscribe, comment.
Someone go make a game called Don't Wake Mommy, and we can compare. Maybe that'll be the first. Maybe that'll be Hasbro's launch.
It's 2023. It's all about mommy now.
Hasbro's launch with Explored, the Tebaru board. It'll be Don't Wake Mommy. AI mommy
powered
in the middle.
Oh my God! Wow.
All right, everybody. Thank you. That's it.
Thanks you.
Thanks you.
Thanks you.
All right, y'all. Peace.
See ya.